The Adventures of Crazy and Lazy. Chapter 1. It has to start somewhere. It's time to begin where all good fairy tales begin. On a random planet, someplace in the universe, hurtling towards a dying sun that, for some reason, is always orbiting a black hole that's keeping the star from going supernova. This very commonplace planet is called Desert Falls in the solar system, known as Blue Rising, which is well known for its blue sun and 25 planets that are all almost completely covered in water. Of these 25 planets, 15 support life, but only one has advanced enough to know they are not alone in the universe. But I'm not sure if they realize black holes are dangerous, but that's a whole different story that's more sad than funny. But that really isn't relevant to this story, just an interesting fact. Anyway, the planet we are on right now is one of the largest ones in the solar system, almost the size of a small star. If I were to compare it to something, I would say it's about 80 times the size of the planet Earth. However, despite its enormous size, its gravity is only slightly higher than that of Earth. This unusual fact is due to the hydrogen core, which is 80% of the planet's mass. This core is covered in a layer of frozen rock and water, which extends up to its surface, which is almost completely covered in solid rock except for small ponds of water that lead down to the frozen waters surrounding its core. Life on this planet varies greatly, especially in size. The largest of the many creatures is a shapeless creature made of energy that spans for miles, known as the Lilliputians. Then there are the hyper-intelligent beings smaller than a human cell, known as the Giants. That's the name they chose, not me. This is also another interesting fact about the planet that has very little impact on the story itself, but it is interesting. Now on this most interesting planet, which seems quite commonplace when you notice the whales playing golf in space 2 solar systems over, live two very strange friends. Well, strange is really an understatement. These two guys were unusual by even the most unusual standards. Better yet, I'll tell you and let you decide. Their names are Crazy and Lazy. Crazy, as his name implies, is a free spirit and a manner of speaking. His idea of fun is to take the eggs of the monsters that he sees, and not the small ones. Oh no, that would be too normal. He only went after the huge ones, much bigger than himself. Oh, and he doesn't take them when they are unprotected, because what fun would that be? He would only take those still being sat on by the mother. His thinking was that if the egg wasn't being protected, the egg wouldn't taste as good. Because why else would you protect something if it wasn't tasty? Well, who's to say he wasn't right? His free-spirited nature may be due to the fact that he was left in a jungle to fend for himself as a small child. However, unlike most children who were left in the jungles to fend for themselves and ended up being raised by creatures of some kind. Does anyone else find that a bit strange as to how often that happens in fairy tales? Just me? Okay, well anyway. He wasn't raised in some cool way in the forest by some unsuspecting forest animal that took him in against its better nature, then teaching them how to be a mix of some cool forest creatures and human in some really weird music montage. Nope, he had to actually raise himself. And yes, that does mean he was alone for most of his childhood, which caused him to find very odd ways of passing the time by himself. Which is a story for another time that I will probably tell. Anyway, even though he did grow up in the jungle, he does have one thing of great value. Actually, it's more like he only has one possession, and it just so happens to be something of great value. It's his sword, and yes, I know that is very cliché, but it actually is a sword and not just any normal sword. This sword is made of the hardest, strongest, and only indestructible metal in the universe. No, it's not also super light. That would be stupid. It's not magic, it's science. But the metal does have other properties besides being strong. It also gives off radiation. Okay, look, he's not going to be the Hulk, because that would also be dumb.